That's the recording started now, Chair.
Thank you very much. Afternoon, welcome to the meeting of the local review body. I'm Councillor Annette Ireland and I'm chair to the local review body. I'd like to welcome Councillor Convery and Councillor Miller here today. And we also have Andrew Benny from planning, but he's an independent planning advisor to the local review body and he's had no involvement in the processing of the review before us today. Siobhan Wilson is the legal advisor and responsible for preparing local review bodies' decision notices and to provide advice as necessary. And Sharon McIntyre is the clerk to the local review body. Do we have any apologies for absence?
Yes, we've got apologies from Councillors Cunningham, Swift, McLean and Provost Fletcher.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Do we have any declarations of interest on the item before us today? Thank you very much. I will move us on then to that local review. It's review 2022-02, erection of single-storey extension at 58 Primrose Avenue in Newton Mearns. Now, we were out there earlier on a site visit, but does the local review body agree that we have sufficient information to determine the review today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I then move on to yourself, Andrew, to give us some background to the review?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Under the terms of the application that forms the basis of this review, as you've already noted, planning permission is sought for the erection of a single-storey extension to the rear of the existing property on the application site. The proposed extension will measure 7.1 metres from the rear wall of the existing dwelling house and will measure 4.37 metres in width and would provide accommodation in the form of an enlarged kitchen and utility room. The ridge height of the extension would sit at 3.98 metres. The extension would be set back from the boundaries of the properties to the north and east by respectively 1.78 metres and 2.02 metres. Externally, the extension would be finished to match those finishes on the existing dwelling house. I can confirm that no letters of representation have been received in respect of this application. Summarising the terms of the planning officer's decision on the application, I would confirm that full details of the reasoning sitting behind the decision on the application are set out within the report of handling, which is provided within the agenda papers. The report of handling indicates that the application requires to be assessed against the terms of policies D1 and D14 of the adopted local development plan. The report of handling indicates that the proposed extension does not respect the local built form and adversely affects the character and amenity of the surrounding area. The report of handling further advises that in line with the supplementary guidance, the proposed extension would not result in the remaining area of garden ground falling below an acceptable level. Summarising the grounds of appeal put forward on behalf of the appellant, once again, full details of the appellant's case are set out within the agenda papers, and in summary, the following points are made. First of all, it is considered that the scale, design and external finishes of the proposed extension are in keeping with the character of the wider area, with the extension fitting into the streetscape of Primrose Avenue and Rose Crescent without detriment or detracting from the character or nature of the wider residential area. Secondly, if the design of the extension had been altered as suggested by the case officer, it would have given rise to significant issues in terms of daylighting failures when assessed against the council's published standards. And finally, the proposed extension has been assessed as being permitted development, but due to lack of faith in the council's ability to properly deal with an associated application for a certificate of lawful use or development, the applicant feels compelled to seek this review of the refusal of the original application. I would remind members that they are required to determine this review against the relevant provisions of the adopted local development plan and also taking into account any other relevant material considerations, which would include, in this instance, the terms of emerging local development plan 2. And finally, in the event of this review being upheld, I would suggest that the following condition be attached to any permission granted. The development should not commence until samples of the external finishing materials to be used in the proposed development have been submitted to and approved in writing by the planning authority, and that thereafter the development shall be implemented in accordance with these approved details. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Andrew, can I open it out, please? Councillor Miller?
Thank you, Chair. Once again, I can understand why the planning officer refused the application, because it's coming out more than possibly more than the 4 metres, but it's not going to be too high. It's not going to be too wide, and it's not going to be too long as far as the garden is concerned. It's not taking up 50% of the garden ground. So I think it's taking up 3.8%. So 3. Less than half, put it that way. It's going to be 1.7 metres away from the neighbour at the side, 2 metres from the one at the back. So to be honest, I don't see anything wrong with this, and I can understand the conditions that Andrew has just stated. Now, I would uphold or I would grant planning permission subject to these conditions.
Thank you very much, Councillor Miller. I think it was important as well. It's not over 50% of the garden ground. Can I just check it is the distance? What's the distance? Is it 1.7 metres to the neighbouring property?
Yes, it's 1.78 metres from the property to the north, which is the same setback distance as the existing house, and just over 2 metres from the property to the east.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Convery, you wishing to come in before I move? I'm in a complete agreement with Councillor Miller, and I'll move that we overturn the planning officer's decision and grant planning permission with the condition as detailed by Andrew Benny. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah.
Councillor Miller? Unless anyone's otherwise minded, but I think you're right. Thank you very much. Sharon, can I pass back to yourself, please?
To confirm that the decision of the committee is to reverse the officer's decision and approve planning permission subject to the suggested condition outlined by the planning officer and standard planning conditions.
Thank you very much. I'll see you again at on the 20th of April. Thank you very much today.
There might be nothing to do.
There might not be. There might not be. So thank you very much, and I'll see you both.
later.
Okay.
All the best.